Hello, you are watching the latest edition of DBE TV News. This bulletin is every Friday on the DBE TV channel 122 on OpenView at 12 p.m. and on BRICS TV channel 509 at 4:30 in the afternoon if you are a StarSat subscriber, also on Fridays. Or watch it on the Department of Basic Education's YouTube channel. Welcome. My name is Tshegohatso Moagi. The leading stories this week. The KwaZulu-Natal Education Department is still counting the cost after more than 500 schools were destroyed during the floods in the province. The Basic Education Department explains how some candidates for the second phase of the PYEI were not included in phase 3 of the project. In Gauteng, the Education Department has urged parents and teachers to ensure learners do not buy or eat anything without knowing the contents of the food. Limpopo Education MEC Poli Bushielo engaged with stakeholders on the department's intention to merge or close non-viable schools in the province. And the community of Ngobo in the Eastern Cape now have a newly rebuilt mega school. Stay tuned to find out more. Now, we would love to hear from you on any stories or ideas that you may have. Do get in touch with us on Twitter at DBE_SA and at DBE TV News, Facebook DBESA and Instagram DBESA. You can use the hashtag DBE News. The KwaZulu-Natal Education Department is still counting the cost after heavy rains causing floods hit the province this week. More than 250 people have lost their lives, this sadly including teachers and learners, and about 500 schools have been affected. The provincial department has since closed all schools in the province as a precautionary measure. In Pinetown, south of Durban, the government worked tirelessly to rescue teachers and learners who spent a night at a secondary school due to the flooding which caused havoc throughout the province. Last year, more than 200 schools were damaged also due to flooding in that province. The department says this is a disaster like they've never seen before.
In all the schools that were not operating yesterday because of these floods and damages suffered, we should not be able to open those schools until at least until Tuesday. This is done, one, to make sure that there is no teacher or learner that risks life to try and access these schools, but also we need time to make interventions as Department of Education. There are schools that have indicated they need extra mobile classrooms to mitigate against the damage that has been done in certain classrooms. So between today as well as Monday, at least we should be able to procure those mobile classrooms and deploy them to school so that when learners come back after the long weekend, they are able to continue with teaching and learning.
Meanwhile, Elembe district office officials were trapped in the building due to the KZN flooding. Everyone who was in the building at the time was escorted out safely by emergency rescue personnel. To this now. The Basic Education Department says there are various reasons why some candidates from the second phase of the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative have been excluded from phase 3 of the project. Phase 3 of the PYEI in the sector started at the beginning of April, following a successful run of the second phase, which ended at the end of March 2022. This phase has welcomed back over 250,000 education and general assistants who signed new contracts. Concerns have been raised from provinces by candidates who feel they have been unfairly removed from the initiative. A month ago, the department published a set of criteria outlining the qualifying requirements for the youth to be considered for phase 3.
The main challenges that we have picked up on the ground regarding the young people that have indicated that they were treated unfairly, we have found that mainly they are linked to performance, where the schools have indicated that these young people have not performed in phase 2, and therefore they are not going to transition them to phase 3. Young people that have not been transitioned to phase 3 and the cases have come to the attention of the department have been investigated, and we have found that truly some of the schools have evidence that indicates that the young person indeed did not meet the requirements. We have found that some of the young people were involved in misconduct, where they were fighting with teachers or fighting with other learners or fighting amongst themselves. Others would ignore teachers when they are given instructions or tasks to do. Others would indicate that they are employed for a specific area and therefore they do not want to participate in other activities that they are assigned to. And in those cases, that is where we find that teachers and principals have complained to the department that you have provided us with this capacity, and the capacity that is supposed to assist us actually is now coming as a burden to teachers and principal, where they need to be managed. Some of the young people have been found sleeping in school when they are supposed to be assisting teachers in classrooms.
Some learners from 2 schools in Gauteng had to be rushed to hospital after eating space cakes. Stay tuned to hear more on this from the provincial spokesperson and other stories coming up. The National School Nutrition Program, the NSNP, is a government intervention program aimed at enhancing learner well-being and learner participation in education. The NSNP aims to improve food security for learners by serving a nutritious meal. The NSNP focuses on the food safety from farm to plate. This food value chain ensures that safe and nutritious meals are served to learners. Compliance at all critical control points is non-negotiable, so that the end users receive safe and quality meals. This video series promotes and emphasizes good food handling practices throughout the NSNP food value chain. Strict compliance to health regulations needs to be followed during storage and transportation of food. All warehouses and school kitchens must have a certificate of acceptability from the local municipality that shows compliance with health and safety regulations. Schools need to check the quality and quantity of food during delivery. Food must be transported in closed vehicles to adhere to safety regulations. This video series showcases the NSNP food value chain, how the program supports good food handling practices, food safety compliance in critical control points such as the warehouses, delivery vehicles, storage, preparation, cooking, serving, and disposal requirements. Storerooms in schools must be clean, well ventilated, and secure. Food items should be checked for expiry dates before preparation. The volunteer food handlers prepare meals on all school days following a provincial menu. The program intends to address barriers of teaching and learning associated with hunger and malnutrition. On a daily basis, more than 9 million children receive a nutritious meal through the program. Meals provided to learners follow the food-based dietary guidelines as stipulated by the Department of Health, which offer a variety of food items, including a daily protein dish, starch dish, as well as a fresh vegetable or fruit. Food waste should be discarded in bins with lids to keep rodents and flies away. The joy of learners taking part in school activities, knowing there is a nourishing meal served daily through the National School Nutrition Program. It shows every child is valued in the education system, where their potential can be developed towards building a prosperous future. The Gauteng Education Department has urged parents and teachers to ensure learners do not buy edibles without knowing the contents thereof. This after learners from Randfontein High School in the West Rand and Mamelong Secondary School in Tsakane in the Ekurhuleni area had to be hospitalized after allegedly eating space cakes sold by another learner. A grade 12 learner from Randfontein High School is now facing suspension for breaking the school's code of conduct and endangering the lives of other learners. The learners from Mamelong Secondary School allegedly bought the space cakes while on their way to tuition classes. The provincial department says all learners have now been released from hospital.
Taking from a number of cases that were reported in our schools where learners consumed what is regarded to as space cakes, we wish to caution parents not to allow children from buying the space cakes or any food items that are unknown to them. This will assist us not to end up with learners that will be hospitalized after eating those space cakes. We are really appealing with parents to work with us on this one so that our learners focus on their curriculum and the time is not wasted where we cannot really account for the curriculum time loss that we experience because of such incidences which are happening in and around our schools. We are happy that all those that were hospitalized, they were discharged, and we are hoping that when they come back, they will then probably be focusing on what should be in the classroom.
In Limpopo, the Education MEC, Dbe Bushielo, met and engaged with stakeholders in the education sector to discuss the department's intention to merge or close non-viable schools in the province. According to the Department of Basic Education, non-viable schools are too costly to maintain as they need more resources to operate them. For a school to be considered non-viable, it must have less than 225 learners from high schools and 135 learners for primary schools. The provincial education departments have often faced resistance from members of the community when schools are identified for rationalization. MEC Dbe Bushielo has therefore decided to embark on a series of engagements to explain the reasons for merging or closing some of the schools in the province.
We've realized that, especially in our rural areas, there are small schools which are not viable for quality teaching and learning. So we thought it is important for us to consult with our stakeholders and try to see this from the same angle and also come out with solutions to say how do we do this in order for our learners to get quality education. And I'm very pleased that our stakeholders were very happy and very supportive, and I think from now onwards we will see Limpopo, on the growth path because we are fully being supported by our stakeholders.
Coming up, we take a look at the new school built in the Ngobo area in the Eastern Cape.
I am a nurturer, like you.
Real men stand against gender-based violence.
I get hurt, like you.
If I am a victim of violence, I too will not be ashamed to report violence and abuse.
I hate it when someone violates me, like you.
In a violent situation, there is power in walking away. I will not take part in fights at school.
All I want is to feel safe, to feel loved, and to be free to show love, like you.
I cry when I'm hurt, because to feel is to be human. I pledge to be more open about my emotions.
Make it part of the new normal for young boys to be nurtured and loved, to freely express themselves and to show love in a safe, inclusive way. We have different gender identities, but first, we are human. If you need assistance to help your child, contact Childline on 08000 55 555.
Mpumalanga Education MEC Bonagele Majuba has welcomed the rolling out of the Ubuhle Buzile e-learning program. The program aims to deliver laptops and tablets to learners and teachers in the province. MEC Majuba says the delivery of the laptops will improve learning and teaching processes as the department moves towards digitizing all learning programs and ensuring that the academic content is easily accessible through zero-rated data plans and agreements with telecommunication service providers. Majuba says the delivery of these laptops and tablets will be done throughout the province. Eastern Cape Premier Oscar Mabuyane, together with the Education MEC Fundile Kade, have officially handed over the Etora Primary School, which is situated in Ngobo, to the community. The school, which started operating this year, has 339 learners and 15 teachers. The project, which cost over 100 million rand, has 25 classrooms, a multi-purpose classroom, media center, library, science and computer laboratories.
It unlocked the potential of the challenges that we're facing, the high levels of poverty, the inequalities, etc., etc. So where we are, I can tell you that this school here, together with the hospital that is just adjacent here, will be able to create this idea and a vision of a mega city in this area in particular. We know this area used to be having a very successful agricultural activities that used to take place here. We are investing here. We'll be able to look at all those issues to make sure that this area is actually taken back to where it used to be.
MEC Fundile Kade says the school is one of 25 no-fee-paying schools that have been built so far in the province. He adds that the schools have been allocated sufficient resources to deal with the huge number of demands they will be receiving. That's how we end this bulletin this week on Channel 122 on OpenView, on YouTube and on Bricks TV Channel 509 Starset. Before we go, with some ECD functions now part of the Basic Education Department, here are some facts. The largest majority of ECD programs are owned by NGOs, communities and private institutions, rather than the Department of Social Development. The ECD programs are not affected by the function shift. Rather, the Basic Education Department will become responsible to support, subsidize, and regulate the programs according to the specifications in Chapter 5 and 6 of the Children's Act. That's it from us for this week. Thank you for watching.